All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Create the Ripple podcast. I get to be your host today. We talk about things here about trusting the niggle and telling the truth. And one of my favorites, Kelly, I think Kelly, you've attended the most of these, which is
Yeah,
kind of cool. Yes. You were like my first, maybe my second, person I ever interviewed when I got into this. And then you
yeah.
came back for an encore because I loved one of your Facebook posts, and now you're back again. So I'm super excited that we get to hold space. So, if you've been listening to my podcast before, Kelly needs no introduction. However, if you've never met Kelly, I'd love for her to give us her introduction. So, Kelly, who are you? Where do you come from? And how did you end up here?
Here. Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Candice. I always love the work you do because you do amazing work and it's so cool. So whenever you say, Cal, I need you, like I jump because I know
Hard
you're
to
doing
believe
great stuff.
because it's you. I'm like, Kelly, she's my friend. This is awesome.
I know, but you're my friend. I like that we're both friends. And that last interview was just so much fun. I mean, I don't think I've ever laughed that much in my life on an interview. So
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 to my
it's just fun.
listeners, I will, I'll put the little, go listen to the previous episode. Kelly had posted about whether or not she should get a dog or a dating coach, which I thought to be absolutely hilarious. Because Kelly, usually I have gone with the dog. I'm like, you know what? The dog is easier than the coach. So, here we are. Here we are.
And, and you know what? It was funny because when I did that post, I think it was like 80% people said get the dog. So that was so funny because sometimes you just get these little thoughts in your head and I just go and I put them in Facebook and you never know what's going to come of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you said I want you on my interview on my podcast, I was like, what?
What?
Why is that worthy of being on a podcast?
Well, I
And
think there's so many women for sure, but men I'm sure as well, especially right now. Dating is hard enough as it is, right? Half the time when you're getting out of a relationship, you're like, oh no, I have to date again. Right? And so
I
you think
know.
about these things. And then you add COVID on top of it, and you're like, how do we the dog I think would be easier. Like say
Well, and according to the last 5 months of my life, the dog would have been easier.
oh my goodness, Kelly.
And that's for a whole nother episode. But yeah, no, yeah, I got burnt when I was a 2 year old, so to most of my body. And Candice, you know the story, and
Yeah.
and so I never ever thought that I would ever, get married or have kids or any of that. I never thought I'd have a good life, but I did end up getting married, and I did end up having 3 beautiful kids, and now I'm a speaker. I've been speaking now for about 10 years. And my speaking coach, when I first started speaking, said, Cal, now that you're a speaker, you need to be an author. And I'm like, I don't know how to write a book. And she's like, no, you need to write a book because then when you speak for free, you've got a product to sell, but also so that when people meet you and they want to take a little more home, a little piece of you home with them, then they've got your book so they can learn more about you. So basically, you can have an impact and an income with your book.
Ooh,
And
an
so,
impact and income. That's awesome.
yes,
That's like a book, an event.
a book and an impact. Yeah, right.
Okay.
We have to
That's
do an
cool.
event together.
I was
You
gonna
know
say,
that.
I think that we just, hatched something here.
Yeah, I
Maybe
know
every time
exactly.
we hang out, though, we're like, oh wait, we could do this stuff. That'd be really good.
Exactly. And so, then basically I ended up leaving my husband. And so now I'm single. I've been single now for about 10 years. And so life had just been this crazy roller coaster. And I never thought that becoming a single parent would create success in
Mm.
my life. I don't know if you believe this, Candice, but I always believe that single moms are broke. Most of them.
Most of them, yeah.
Most of them are broke. And so I thought that I was going to have to fit into that mold. And so I didn't think that I would ever, make money or be able to make it as a single mom.
Mhm.
But, I did end up winning all kinds of awards. The Woman of Distinction for YWCA, got the medal from the Queen. My life stories are made into a documentary called Still Beautiful, and that's also a
There
best-selling
will be
book.
links all over here for people listening. And of course, if you're listening into on iTunes or Spotify, there will be links in the show notes for you to be able to go and follow along, because they're powerful stories. And it's great that you've got
They
them
are.
in video in that way.
Yeah, and Goldcast launched a video about my life story that landed almost 10 million views. And so all these incredible things are happening. And it's not that I'm looking for those opportunities. It's just because I'm just this crazy person that, crazy good, that it feels like I have to have multiple things going on in my life. I just can't focus on one thing.
No.
So I love speaking and I love writing, and now I love coaching people to become authors. And
Yeah.
so that's been great for me over 2020. When COVID hit, I, spent a week on the couch because I didn't know what I was going to do. I lost all my speaking gigs. But then I said, well, what can I do? And I thought, well, I can start coaching people to be authors. And so I planned my first virtual event. And of course, I heard all the messages, oh, there's no money. Nobody's got money now. And I thought, okay, fine. I'm going to do pay what you can. And some people paid me $40, some paid 150, some paid 200, whatever. I didn't really care. They all paid something. And then I taught them how to write a book. And one of the most beautiful stories that came out of that was a friend of mine, Maria. And she attended my course, and then she couldn't be on video. And so after the course, she thanked me and she said, thank you so much for doing that online. I said, okay, right. Okay, whatever. She's like, no. She said, seriously, I've got cancer and I'm going through chemo right now. And if you would have done this book, this workshop in person, I wouldn't have been able to attend. Well, Maria is now a best-selling author. Wow. And she's now working on a series of 10 romance novels.
That's awesome.
And so even yesterday, I got on the phone with her because she's going to help me at my live event. And she said, she was in tears. She said, Kelly, I never would have been able to do this without you. And so that's why I'm really starting to love, coaching people to become best-selling authors.
Well, and you're clearly very good at it.
Well, thank you.
I know that you and I have chatted many times about writing a book, and I mean, instead of writing a book, I have an online publication, so I'm still writing. But it's you've really found that passion, and you're right. I mean, there's so many of those different ideas around who we are, who we end up becoming, and the titles that we take on that sometimes hold us back. And I know that's been a reoccurring theme, at least in my life in the last little while, is how small I've let myself be, rather than being, well, what is possible. And I think it's one of the reasons why I love these podcasts so much. I get to talk to people and I'm like, ooh, you have a really great life. I think I'd like to add that. How do I add that piece to it? So, and I mean, I know you've got another event up and coming, and I'd love for us to talk about that, because every time, you and I do end up talking, I want people to be able to reach back out and take advantage of that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we do this, is for, promotion, right? You talk about the people that love, and trust.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I've been doing these 4 or 5 day challenges and getting people in to write their books and stuff. And then this time I've been challenged by my coach to do a 3-day live event. And so, where you have your event, you make your offer and everything. And I'm like, okay, fine, we'll do it. And so that's going to be April 9th, 10th, and 11th. And what we're going to be doing is doing a deep dive into getting your book done, getting them published, and then doing a bestseller launch. So it's pretty exciting, and a little bit of nerve-wracking too, because trying to get butts and seats. But every day, people are saying, yes, I want to attend it. And it's only $47, so it's super inexpensive.
Awesome.
And yeah, so that's what's happening.
Okay, very cool. So we'll have to make sure that we get this one, out to its sweet, but we'll make sure that there's, links for anybody who wants to take advantage of that, certainly in the show notes and flashing on the screen. Every time I say that, I laugh, because one of my previous podcast guests said, well, I won't be flashing on the screen, but you can certainly flash my, I was like, Things I should probably not say on camera, which amuses me every time it, comes up. Yeah, link to that interview there, right? Like it was, it's been a great time. Are you looking for a simple, easy weight management solution? I thought you might be. I know I was. I also wasn't interested in something with a ton of gimmick without any science behind it, which I know a ton of companies have. The company I'm about to share with you actually has 12 of their own clinical studies. And for me, with my science-based background, I needed to know that. I also needed to know the product worked. And so I was introduced to the group that had 125,000 members in it, all supporting amazing stories of weight management, weight loss, hair regrowth. Oh my gosh. Not surprising though, considering the product itself has won numerous awards in and out of the nutraceutical industry, which I think is pretty incredible. Pretty exciting as well is the fact that it's made with their patented technology, 7 international patents on the collagen in this product, made entirely from chicken sternum. Chicken sternum, why? Because it most closely mimics the collagen that our own bodies create. Now, I'm a 36-plus-year-old woman, and so making sure that I'm maintaining and taking care of and trying to reverse the clock so I can age gracefully is super important to me. Making sure I'm taking products that are safe, making sure I'm taking products that are approved, and making sure I'm taking products that I would be happy to share because there's integrity at the top. So this company is a values-based company, which I absolutely love. Not only do I love that, but I love the flavors. This is mango. Mango's my favorite. This is from the Modera company, which you've heard me talk about before. 1 simple spoonful a day. In the morning, I can add it to my coffee if I feel like it. I don't add the mango, I add the vanilla to my coffee, but I can add a simple spoonful to my day. It tastes awesome. It tastes amazing. And it's helping my body to maintain the figure that I've worked to get to. Why not? Now, if you're looking for some weight management, this is going to help curb appetite. It's going to help your body to function as best. And we know that when you do something like that and you make wiser choices, your body says thank you. This is part of an entire system called the Lean Body System. I will make sure to post information for that below, or you're welcome to scan the QR code, which I know is going to be somewhere in the screen if you're watching this on YouTube. If not, head over to modere.ca. That's MODERE, modere.ca, or modere.com, and use code 5579027. Again, 5579027 to save $10 on your next order, regardless of what you put in your cart. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the listen. How many different things have come together because of what didn't come together? I think that that's been an overarching theme as well in the last little while, both for you and for me. Plot twists. Okay. I had a different plan. Right.
Well, and I think that's what COVID is all about.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all about us as really reflecting on our lives, whether it's our relationship with spouses, whether it's our relationship with our kid, with our relationship with ourselves and our jobs and what we're doing, right? Yeah. Like I did not ever think that I was going to be a full-time book coach, but I did it and I'm doing it. And 2020 has been a fantastic year for me. And I can see that 2021 is going to be even better than 2020. Mm-hmm. And I think it's fascinating because so many people try to tell me there's no money. And I don't believe that for one bit, because I think it's just that people are being more cautious with their money.
Yes.
So that's what I think is happening. But I don't think there's no money out there. I think there's lots of money out there. I think you just have to find a way to, provide value so that people want to spend that money with you.
Yes, I agree. I think there's something huge about that value. In fact, I think I just did a post about it yesterday that, now more than ever, I'm glad that I chose to be an entrepreneur. And part of the fun of interviewing, through COVID, I mean, our next magazine publication's all about fresh starts. And we're talking to a lot of people who pivoted in 2020, people who finally started their businesses in 2020. There was a lot of people that did. And so there's a lot of people who, lost businesses, but there were also a lot of good things that came out. I mean, I pivoted. It was like, there was this massive, okay, there's clearly a need to go a different direction. And again, I'm not 100% sure that all the directions that we've moved into were necessarily not good. Like there is something to that. And I have to keep sitting back and thinking, wow, obviously for me, COVID brought on first some incredible grief in terms of change in my relationship, but from that grief has come a whole new life that literally has surprised me. And, the people who are closest to me, it's like, did I see this coming? And I think, no, last year I had no idea. It was not on the radar. It was not even close. I just said you were crazy because I had a different plan, right down to the way I set up my goals in, January 2020 was entirely different than what ended up happening. And I went, okay, best laid plans, right? So it's really interesting, I think. And I love it when people are able to, pivot to that place.
I love how you say that, because sometimes to me it makes me think, well, why plan goals if they're just gonna change, right? Like when I look back in the last 10 years of my life, like even 2 weeks ago, I won a public speaking competition. So now I can say I am
congratulations.
an award. Yeah, thanks. I'm an award-winning virtual speaker. I never thought that would happen. Like when I look back 10 years ago and I think, I never thought a documentary was going to be made about my life. I never thought I was going to win, the Woman of Distinction Award. I never thought that, I was going to be a 7-time best-selling author. None of that. I never thought I would be in Africa, right? Like none of that
stuff
was in my plans for my goals of what I wanted to achieve in the next 5 or 10 years. So when people say to me, where do you see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years? I say, I don't know. Because I don't.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know. That's a really good question. Yeah, no, it is significant, I think, when we get a chance to look at that. And I know that for me, one of the biggest things is, it's like I kind of have an idea of where I'd like to be by the time I'm 45, but I'm not 100% sure what that's going to look like. And that's been neat, even as people are saying, well, how are you defining this moving forward? Or what does that look like? And I think I'm still checking in with myself to make sure that what I'm doing every day is still lining up. And that's even interesting for me. It's like, did what I put my effort into today, did that actually move my life forward? And I think, I know for me, the less busy that's really come up lately has had such a huge impact. And I'm so grateful for that. This whole, we have to meet, here rather than, person to person has really freed up a lot of time, which really is the one thing we don't get back, right? We don't get back.
Yeah.
Once it's spent, it's done. Yeah.
No, I think it's awesome. Hang on. My laptop is going to die.
Okay.
So
I think one of the coolest things about what we're doing now, both for you and for me, is really, setting a different course. I honestly feel like releasing the extra has really freed up a lot of creative energy, which I'm certainly enjoying. And I mean, you and I were talking before the show, there's a lot of things that are in creation right now, which is really fun to sort of be in that mode. Sometimes you're in the do mode and sometimes you're in the, and I feel like right now it's all about creation and possibility, which is a super fun place to, to be in. And that's exciting to see.
it is. Yeah. And it's cool to expand.
Yes.
Right. Like I was always scared shitless of putting on events because I didn't want the big expense. And I also was concerned about getting butts and seats. So I didn't want to put the big financial outlay. And now, like, we are so blessed that this is happening when we have the internet and we have Zoom and all these things are free.
Yeah.
Right. Or Zoom is only like, what, $15 a month. So, and when one time when I did my first pay what you can workshop, I think I made like $1,500 just from that. It was like, that's awesome. Right. So it's just, it's just about expanding. And like you said, being creative and like, what do you want to do?
What do you want? I know. And that's such a fun question, and I've been saying that, one of my previous guests and I were talking about, they're like, wow. And I said, well, delegations become a big thing. And that's been challenging for me because I'm usually a doer. But that recently I've been really leaning into the feminine, which is all about receiving and allowing and attracting. So it's been like this whole shift in how I do business. And then recognizing that there are a lot of people that really want to do the doing part, or they have a particular skill set. And so it's been all about collaboration lately, right down to the online publication, right? Like we've got a design team and they have brilliant ideas that they come to the table and I think, oh my gosh, I could never have thought of that, but that's brilliant. And then, it's the editing that happens. I'm thinking, oh, that story was good. And then you took it and wow, like that's something we can be excited about, right down to, we're starting to talk about doing, a 3-day summit and online, offline. We'd love it to be online, but we know, or offline, but we know that it may be online for a while. But even then we're like, who is doing these things already that we can collaborate with, rather than filling people's inbox with one more thing that they've got to do, but rather something that they're looking to do, someone who's already in creation mode, and how can we align? And that's been really fun. I feel like COVID strengthened a lot of the relationships that I have, and I loved that. I mean, I'm fairly relationship driven anyway. I'm the girl that goes to a big networking event when we could go to networking events, and I would talk to 2 people. I'd be like, great day, right? Like I wanted a real connection to get to know somebody. And I feel like right now there's the time to do it, right? We have wine or, hang out like this, right? This is how you and I connect. How's it going? Let's podcast.
No, I totally know what you mean. And what I'm finding is I'm actually more productive now than I was before COVID. And even today, I had I think 7 appointments. When was it? Monday, I had 9.
Yeah.
And I've had people phone me or message me on Facebook and say, hey, can we get together? And I'm like, how about we do Zoom?
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to see them and not because of COVID. It's just because I know I can be so much more productive if I just do it on Zoom instead of having to drive there, then have an hour, 2 hours, and then drive back.
Yep.
I could have fit 5 appointments in that 3-4 hours, right? So
it's true. And the list of people that I actually want to spend time with has gotten so much smaller. And I feel like now when we are going out, it's an event. I mean, even the other day we went to go pick up a Barbie house for my tiny human, and we took the car and it was too big for the car. And, he was like, oh, and I said, but what else are we going to do tonight? Like we were going to go and then set this thing up and then hang out. She's hanging out with my mom. It's all good. They'll have an adventure. Let's go grab the SUV. Then we'll drive across town. Let's grab a cup of coffee and let's go on a date. And he was like, oh yeah. I was like, we don't live in that pace, anymore. I can work until 3:00 or 4:00 in the day and then be like, I'm done. I put in a good day. I was here. I was present. And now I'm going to go and, and it's even harder now that it's like false spring, right? We all know the snow.
I know. This is summer. This is our summer. Winter really is coming back.
It's coming back. We all know this. Yes. There's winter, fall, spring. Yes. So anyway, yeah.
No, exactly.
That's the thing. But, I think there's something to that. And I was even thinking, as things are returning, to whatever normal is, and certainly with all the changes that are coming in, we're all hoping for things like travel, and we're all hoping to, get out and see people again. And I'm glad for that. But at the same time, I'm already thinking, okay, how do I, what have been my most productive days, and how do I continue to be productive so that I can be more present? I think we were reminded about what was important last year, right? We all said, I want more time. I want to spend more time with my kids. I'm way too busy. Right. And then the world stopped and we went, okay, what I meant was, right?
Totally. No, I totally get it. Because the fall before COVID hit, I had 13 speaking gigs in 8 different cities in about a 6-week period. And so there was a time where literally I flew to one city, came home, went to bed, got up, and then basically 12 hours later, I was back in the airport. And so my kids were bouncing around from house to house to house. And so this past year, I've been home. Well, literally, I've been home for a year. At Christmas time, I went to Mexico for a week, but I was telling my son, do you want to come with me? Because he could have come. And, I said, are you okay if I go away? And he goes, but Mom, you're going to be gone for a week. That's so long. Right. And he's 17. Most kids want to get rid of their moms. Right. And he's like, but he's so used to me being home now all the time. He's like, yeah, but we cook together and we do things together and you're going to be gone. And okay, fine. I'll only go for 1 week instead of 2 weeks,
Instead of
right?
2 weeks, yes, I will do that thing for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I will do that then. And he's like, okay, I'm okay with you gone for 1 week. But it's just so funny because before that, for the past 8 or 9 years, I'm traveling anywhere from 25 to 50% of my time.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been nice to be able to be back, and my kids want me here,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah, I've discovered that I think my daughter's love language is quality time, which I think has been a great lesson. And it was interesting, Kelly,
Yeah.
because I did a lot of traveling with her when she was younger, both because of, the divorce and just my career at the time. Travel was
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. And I remember thinking, by the time she's 6, and she's 6, in a couple months, I want to be more present. And so I got to get some of this travel out of the way, and I got to get some things built. And then, everything that sort of happened, I was like, wow, did I ever call that one? Like, now I am more ready to
Yeah.
be here. And, the trips we're planning include things like camping, where we're spending a lot more time together. And it's been nice to be able to not have so many outside commitments. Again, to be able to say,
Right.
I'm here now, and that's cool.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the
No,
gift
that's
that is.
beautiful. It's awesome.
Hey, it's Candice. I hope you're really enjoying the show. I know I certainly am. I want to give a big shout out to one of the products that I absolutely love using. So this is 36-year-old skin, and I am in love with it. Yes, I am wearing a teeny tiny bit of foundation. I'm wearing a little bit of eyeshadow, but in general, I want to go like really, really close. This is my skin. Phenomenal, right? So I recently started using a product called Biocell. Biocell is liquid collagen. Now, there's a lot of buzz about collagen right now, but you want to find one that mirrors closest the human kind of collagen. I was super impressed with this particular collagen. This is made with only the sternums of chickens. So that's the, the sternum bone of chickens in a place that has already ethically and humanely taken care of these chickens. And so we're basically using a part of the chicken that would normally just disappear and be used for other things. I have not got into the collagen world before now, mostly because I know that a lot of the collagens out there, especially the powdered collagen, they have things like cow hooves and pig hooves and noses, and I just wasn't interested in putting that sort of thing in my body. I do try to live a more plant-based lifestyle. This is one of the few products that I allow to have animal in it, but I absolutely love it. I'm also really impressed with the company behind it. They're a values-driven company, and if you know from watching any of my shows, values matter to me. They've got a number of values. One, to be disruptive in the industry, and you know me, I like to be a little bit irreverent and go against the grain once in a while. I also really love that one of their values is humility and compassion, because those are huge and important to me. So if you're looking for a place to spend your money, and no, it's not an arm and a leg, no, it's not an MLM, this is affiliate marketing, which means if you did decide to purchase this product, yes, I would in fact get a small commission, which has nothing to do with your products or your purchase or the price point on the product, to be honest with you. It is simply 10 to 36% for me, depending on how many of this awesome product that I get a chance to move. Also, I'm paid daily, which I think is pretty amazing. So if you're somebody who's looking for some collagen and you just want to be our customer, I have got a $10 code. Drop a link or a comment below, or feel free to message me and I will share with you my link so that you can get $10 off of your first order. If you are somebody who's thinking, hey, I would like to get some product and also like to break into the affiliate game, that's a passion for me. I love teaching women and men, but mostly women, how to master the affiliate game. Once you learn how to do it with one company, you can do it with anything else. So I hope that you're enjoying the show. And without any further ado,
It's
back to the
awesome.
show.
Yeah.
It's awesome that we can, really strengthen those relationships, which I think is so cool.
As single moms, and to be
Yeah,
those,
as single
I've
moms.
never aligned to the single mom. I've been honest about it. I think I'm a solo parent because, I do have support. And so I've never wanted to,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it on my own, right? Like, it simply takes a tribe. But the buck does stop with me, right? So,
Right.
stopped here.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking a lot, about that it's like, I like being able to say, Right. And they told me I wouldn't be able to do it either. And that necessity piece really is the mother of invention when you're like, I need to find a solution here. And
I wrote an article the other day for a magazine that I'm in, and I called it Bad Mom Syndrome.
Oh.
Well, because, when I was traveling, those 6 weeks for 13 speaking gigs, like I was like, oh my God, I'm being a bad mom. I'm not here for my kids and blah, 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 right? And so here's the thing, though. Like sometimes we feel that guilt and that shame that we're not always there for our kids. And especially being a single mom entrepreneur, which is really different from just
we talked about this, that the
did.
dating pool for us is like that.
Well, no, but not only that, when the money we make, we need it. We need it to support our kids. Whereas sometimes those other, mom entrepreneurs that have husbands that support them, so they don't need their money as much as we do. We need our money to support our kids, right?
We know where every penny goes. Yes.
Right. Like every penny counts. And so that's why a lot of times a mom like us has to put our job or our work first instead of our kids. Yeah. And so I've struggled with that whole bad mom syndrome. But anyways, yesterday, and I think it was yesterday and the day before was amazing, because my one son sent me a text message. Now they just turned 18 last week. Woo. Okay. Yeah. And so he sent me a text message and he said, "You are so cool, Mom. I so appreciate you. I really love you." And I was like, "Aw." And it was so amazing because I had just had a meltdown 2 hours before that. And then yesterday, my other son, him and I were talking, and he went for a job interview. And so I guess one of the questions that he was asked was, "Who are the smartest people you know?" And he said, "My mom and my brother." And I was like, "What? You think your mom is one of the smartest people you know?" And he goes, "Yeah. And you get stuff done." And so again, I have no reason to have bad mom syndrome, right? Because a lot of times, you and I, and there's so many other women out there, that we're doing the best that we can, and we think our kids aren't noticing it, and they are. Yeah, they're noticing that we are working our butts off, trying to provide a good life for them, and they're doing the best that we can. And so those two little stories, I wrote them down and I put them in my story journal because I want to be able to share that with other women and other men too. And even on those days when I'm feeling really crappy about my life, being able to just say, "Hey, look, my son doesn't think I'm a bad mom." No. Right? They don't.
I know. Yeah, and Nara and I were having a conversation, and there's been a particular toy that she's wanted, and it's expensive, so everybody else has said no. And I got to say, you know what? Yeah, we can make that happen. Here's the deal. We got these things to do, and I want you to earn it. So we're teaching, the value of some of these things. And she was like, "Mom, you have the monies?" And I was thinking, yeah, it wasn't so long ago when Mom would not have been able to. And I was always honest with her. I would love to, but I can't. We need to save up for that. And it feels good to be able to say that. And, but that's not just the only piece of it. It's also the, when she pops up and she's like, "Mom," and it's like the 14th time you've heard "Mom," and you're trying to get something done. You're like, "Yes." She's like, "I love you." I'm like, "I love you too." I needed that right here.
I needed that. I know. How do they know that when we need it, right?
Yeah,
that's
they
so
do.
Beautiful. Yeah, it is. That's
the 14th time, "Mom." I'm like, "Yes." Very wise child you are. Very wise child.
Very much so. Well, she's got a wise mom. Yeah.
Okay. Time will tell. Anyway, I know that both of us are exceptionally busy, but I always like to leave a little space at the end if there's something that you'd love to leave with our listeners. Certainly now would be the time to share that, and then we will wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Well, I would just love to say, and this is how I end all the podcasts that I'm on, is your dreams are meant to be found, not tucked away in dreamland. So if you've got dreams out there, just find a way, just do it, right? Don't let it stop you. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's Absolutely amazing. And I love it. That's been a common theme. I love it, Kelly. I mean, I tend to do these all, sort of in succession, and then I have, content to launch. But it's amazing to me the way the stories weave. And I don't know if my listeners hear it in the same way that I do when I'm sort of sitting here, that I'm like, wow, it's like I coordinated what we were going to talk about today, but I didn't, right? I just basically say, get me on camera. We're going to hit record. One of my guests earlier today, I hit record in the middle of a great conversation. I didn't warn him because I was like, oh, this is good. Like, this is gold.
This is good. I know. We're going to do more of that. Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait, we're recording. And then, his demeanor changed. I was like, no, but you were so brilliant. So I'll cut out all the ums and everything else. But I wanted that, that bit and piece. So
Oh, totally.
there'll be more pre-show coming up. It's
I love that. There's so many times where I've had, some really deep conversations with people, and I'm like, we should be recording this. Like, this is like content. This is content.
That's
like,
the Instagram piece that I put up that said, you need to come listen to me and Kelly today because we, rocked it out. But
yeah. Are you on Clubhouse yet?
I am on Clubhouse. I'm still not sure how to use Clubhouse.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to do something on Clubhouse.
Okay, we're gonna do something on Clubhouse. Okay.
Yeah.
I like this plan.
Okay.
See, this is what happens when Kelly and I get together. We have these great plans, and then we just have to clear our schedules to be like, what do we say we're gonna do? Because I know there's a few brilliant ideas. Like, we need VAs. You and I are the kind of women who need virtual assistants, because we're just so full of ideas. Anyway, for my listeners, thank you so much. You know the drill. There'll be all the links to everything Kelly's up to, all of her books, in the comments and stuff below. Of course, you're welcome to get in touch with her and Kelly. Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm so honored whenever you ask me to be on your show. Thank you.
Seriously.
No, it's serious.
Oh my goodness. And for the rest
I know, every time we do this, we think we have to do it again.
I know. And I really
so
do want to we should post them below. If you think Kelly and I should come together to just talk about relationships, because I think you and I could literally talk about relationships for a very long time, drop something in the comments below and we will review and see if we need to create some space for the once a month sit down and coffee chat and talk about, life, love, and other mysteries, and go from there.
Okay, take care.
Thanks, everybody.